Keep on talking. Keep on talking. Keep on talking. Put a phone in your car today. Use it to work and to play. And keep talking. Talking. Beep, 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 yeah.
Have you ever wanted to take some of your retro tech and bring it into the 21st century? Well, today on RB's Toy Box, I'm going to not only do a review, but show you how to do it. Stay tuned. If you've been watching RB's Toy Box at all, you know I love retro tech. And I love being able to get a hold of technology that in many ways help define the decade. Literally, you can identify what time zone you're in based upon the technology of that particular time, and how each one of those pieces of technology had something to do with the next one. One piece of technology brought about the next piece of technology. But none of these had more to do than necessity, right? So if you look at a lot of the collections that I have, I like the novelty style phones, obviously, with the different phones I've got. I got the Coke phone up here, several Mickey Mouse phones. I've got a M&M's phone over here. I've got my fire truck, and I've got all kinds of cool little phones here. But my favorite are the retro techs, right? The phones that go in your car, the ones that went from your car to being more of the portable ones. And you know what? Especially in today's age, how cool would it be to be able to get something like this that works? Now, there are some videos and things out there where you can take some home phones and get them to work with some Bluetooth technology boxes you can plug in and actually make them voice over IP phones. That's really cool. But in the mobile technology set, unfortunately, the 21st century has left them behind. Now comes along, and it's been out for a couple of years, so it's no big surprise to some people, but other people may not know that there are some Chinese companies out there that are making some retro tech that kind of bring back the nostalgia while still giving you a little piece of the technology. Now, these phones have been out literally 20 years. That's how old the technology is in here. But because 2G is still supported on some style towers, it is possible to take something like this, which was a novelty at the time, and bring back some retro cool to your collection. Now, just like we had in the Motorola brick phones and the different phones that came out in this particular era, this one obviously resembles that. And along that same token, you got, you know, these other Motorola or GTE systems that literally were identical to each other, to where they brought about the next generation. One led to the other, led to the other. So as technology changed and we switched over to a SIM card style system, enter these types of phones. Now this one, just if you're looking for it, this is a K-E-R-U-E-N, I don't know how in the world you would say that, but Kuren phone. And I tell you what, they're burning up on eBay. There are thousands to be gotten. But you can't just buy one and slap a SIM card in and make it work. You got to do something special to it, and I'm going to show you how. Now, we've all seen those commercials on television where they're like, you know, instead of using Verizon or AT&T, we use the same towers, we just do it cheaper. Those are the types of technology services that give us new life to these old retro phones. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to show you to do here today, you can actually go and buy you, let's say, an old Motorola Razr. We remember how popular those were. And a lot of these cool QWERTY phones that you would start out with texting, I mean, a lot of the really cool phones that we had when we were growing up, especially for me in my mid and late 20s, early 30s, to where phones were really coming into their day and really having a lot of cool features with them, rather than just being a phone for calling. You know, we can go back and get the first generation of those, you know, Motorola candy bar phones that had the snake game. Remember those? So what you've got to do is you've got to get a carrier. I'm using US Mobile, but you've got to get, when you activate it, you're gonna get two sets of cards. One of them black for 5G, and one of them white for 4G and back. Even though they don't tell you that, just between you and me. So the 4G comes into play. It comes with, you got to get the SIM card cards, and I'm not sure whether Mint Mobile does this or not. I think so, but I wouldn't swear to it because I haven't used it personally. But you've got to get the SIM card that has the 3-in-1 to it. That's super important because these older phones use the big SIM cards, and the newer phones use the micro cards, and the, you know, the early 2000s phones use the in-between one. So depending on the type of phone that you're going to try to revive, you got to make sure that you have a SIM card that will basically be able to be modified for it. So what you're going to do is you're going to get one of these, and you know, if it's just going to be for a fun novelty experience, you do what I did. You get the cheapest plan they got, which is $4. Right? So for $4 I get 2,500 minutes, and for a novelty phone, I mean, let's face it, you're not going to call more than 2,500 minutes or do more than 400 text or whatever you give you. And they have a phone only plan and not phone and data. You don't need data on this phone. You're not going to be surfing the internet with a retro phone like a Motorola, you know, Razr or something like that. But you get something like this with US Mobile. Again, you can get it for $4. They ship it to your house and you get these two cards. Then you want to get a phone like this. Okay, raid your drawers where you stored all the old phones. Get your daughter's phone where she stuck it up in her drawer. All you need is to get it charged up. Make sure that it's fully updated. Now this sounds weird, but if you try to put one of these into a phone of this level technology of more than 5 to 8 years ago, it won't work. Don't ask me why. All of the phones that I tried this in, I had to update it to the absolute latest in order for it to work. There's something in the SIM card change that made it not work with the older style SIM cards. But when you update the software, it made the older style SIM cards work. So whether they knew this was a deal or not and they modified the software, I don't know. I'm not an expert in that area. I'm just telling you, when I tried all of these phones that I have, and I have quite a few, you know, old mobile phones in my little collection, I tried all of them that were 4G and 3G phones, and none of them would work until I actually brought up to date all of their software to the latest and greatest that that manufacturer offered. So, number one, get your card. Number two, get you a phone that is at least 4G, obviously 3 or 4G, and then update it to the latest. Then you get the card in here and get it active. Now if you activate a 4G, it's going to ask you for your IMEI number. You got to put a number in there that is compatible with their system. However, once you put that in, it's just so the computer will validate it. That's it, okay? Trust me, I made it work. If you've got to put one in that works. Now, there's a couple of types of phones that obviously different systems, like US Mobile or Mint Mobile, they don't support. Got to be like one of the ones for T-Mobile, because that's what most of these bounce off of, is the T-Mobile's towers. So, put in that IMEI number, so it's got to be a new enough phone for that. I use this old Motorola, whatever I get them called, that thing. I always hated this phone when I got them, but you know, they were the latest and greatest when they got them, but they just Moto Zs, that's what they were, Moto Zs. And if that's your favorite phone, I'm sorry, Arby's Toybacks didn't like them. I'm a Samsung guy myself. But get that, and I put the card in it, got it to work. When you were able to make phone calls, which took about 15-20 minutes before it finally picked up on the network, Once you get that going, then all you got to do is pull this back out, put it back into the little encasement that comes with the 3-in-1. You're going to need the biggest one. And then you slide it in your retro phone. Now it'll take, again, 10 or 15 minutes for it to find the network. And then once it does, matter of fact, give me a second, I'm going to walk around to the front here. I don't know if it'll show, but it's going to say, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it says T-Mobile basically. And even though it's US Mobile, even US Mobile will tell you they're bouncing off T-Mobile towers. They're basically reselling T-Mobile services cheaper. Now, if you ask me, I'm just saying, that's a poke in the eye for people that use Verizon and T-Mobile, that you're paying full price, but these guys get it cheaper. Anyway, but because it says T-Mobile, now you can start making phone calls. Now, this is a dual SIM phone, so you could technically put another SIM in there. I don't know why you would, but it's not two different technologies. It's just two different SIMs. So if you're traveling the world and you want to go to China, you'll need a SIM card there, and you need a different SIM card here. Doesn't matter. So just one SIM card. I recommend putting it in SIM card position number 1, just so that you don't constantly hit the number 2 up here, because the number 2 is also your menu button, which is a pain in the neck. So I just put it on number 1. So when you go to make a phone call, you unlock it, dial in your number. It's got the contacts, everything you would expect from a 2003 manufactured phone. And then, you know, boom, there you go. It has fairly decent clarity. And like I said, if you look at this phone very carefully, there are 15 different Chinese versions of this exact same phone. Some of them actually say Motorola across the bottom of them, which they're not. They KR999s through different Chinese Shenzhen manufacturers. But they are, you know, brick phones. Now, this comes with a battery, and by the way, all the settings that it says that they have on all of these, none of them have that. This is not a memory, or not a memory bank, power bank. It's not a power bank. Doesn't have a plug in here for you to charge your phone. Even though it says power bank, it's not. This does not have Bluetooth, even though they all say that they do. It does not. Matter of fact, none of them do. I think they just put that in there so people would see it. Probably the Chinese people who manufacture these honestly don't know. But there's quite a few features that it says that it has that it does not. But if all you're getting this for is for the retro vibe like RB's Toy Box is, what's it matter, right? You're going to pick up the phone, you're going to call somebody, have a backup phone, you know, put it in your Motorola little bag that can't, you know, that you got with this one if you got that one. And it's fun, right? To actually have an old phone that people used to be able to make fun of. Now you got one that works, and that's the only, for me, hey, it's worth, and by the way, I got this one, and because there's so, watch this, because there's so many of these on eBay, man, if you throw a $20 bid at somebody, or, you know, where it says, you know, give an offer, they'll take it, because they got thousands and thousands of these that never got bought in the United States. You're gonna have to order it from China. This one I think came from Minnesota, and it got here fast. It was like 4 days, and the guy shipped it in. I mean, fantastic. But you know, you shoot a low bid, they'll take it. So I got this one. Like I said, did that little process of getting it to work out. But that, again, gives you a little bit of a retro feel to your collection and allows you to be able to have some retro tech to carry around with you. Get the conversation started, right? Bring back some of the cool old day toys. And, you know, when you see somebody sees you talking on this and, you know, what are they going to... Let them laugh, right? Because you got a functional brick phone that you can have some fun with, have some retro feel to it. I'm going to be honest, this was a little predating me just a hair. Not the 2000 part of it, but, you know, this was a little predate me. This was a little predate me. This is right in the time frame where, you know, I was in high school when these were coming out. I actually had a dummy car phone in my, I actually had a Yugo, believe it or not. I had a Yugo. I didn't have it for very long. Somebody hit me in a parking lot going 3 miles an hour and totaled the car. Seriously. But, you know, I still had a dummy car phone in there. And it made people say, oh, man, you got some money because you got a cell phone. It was fun, right? It was a high school. And then when I started working in the corporate world, you know, I got the little fancier phones, and I got all the Nokia phones, and I had every time a new phone come out, Arby's Toy Box got a new phone. I've always been on having the latest and greatest. I mean, I even have my Samsung Fold here, where, you know, people are the oohs and the ahs because you got a Fold. I like having not only the oldest and the coolest, but the latest and the greatest as well. So you stay with Arby's Toy Box as I keep coming up with some more videos here. I've got all kinds of cool stuff still to show you within the collection. I recently had to move all the rooms around a little bit to make room for all of the cool stuff that I've been collecting. And just like a lot of stuff, I'll get it cheap, I'll fix it up, and in some cases I'll show you how to do that too. So stay tuned to Arby's Toy Box. Make sure you smash that like button down below, share it with all your friends. I would love to see this go up. Oh, and by the way, I've got if you go to arbiestoybox.com, I've got hats and shirts and all that stuff that's for sale. Literally at cost. I'm using one of those print on demand, so if somebody really wants something that says Arby's Toy Box on it and support the movement for bringing back old cool retro toys, make sure you go there and get one and let everybody know about Arby's Toy Box. We'll see you soon.